Thank you, Vishal, and thank you for your introduction. Yes, today I'm going to be conducting the meeting. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, everybody. Well, I don't have got anything to say about me. At this point, well, the most important thing, as usual, here in Optimus, we have this series of webinars that we have on a monthly basis. So we're going to share, and we are happy to present today the GL budgets topic for Business Central. Today we're going to be checking the functionality that we have. We're going to be learning how to prepare the budgets. What are the budgets? These are financial budgets, just to have a brief understanding. So well, and then we are going to have, of course, a series of questions from your side throughout the meeting. You can ask me, you can raise your hand in this meeting, or maybe as well, you can wait a little for the end of the session so you can ask me directly, and I would be then also clarifying any doubt for everybody so we can share this knowledge. So the whole idea is that we're going to be learning how to prepare a budget, what is it, and how to work within the Business Central environment, right? So thank you as well, Vishal, and now we're going to start directly with our presentation that we have prepared. So let's go directly to our activity today. First of all, the budget. What is it? The budget and everything will be, why do we use the budget? Basically, it's just a planning activity. A budget is an overview of planned expenses and revenues from the financial side, of course. It is an important tool for companies used in business intelligence to measure the actual financial operation or performance of the business against the forecast that you actually prepared. So it will be depending as well on your accurate planification or overview of your business sector, right? Now, what can we do here that we have the software for those of you that are learning or are checking specifically this functionality? Some of you might have already budget, so it might be good also as well to check this, because it might be clarifying at least what would be what would be the complete functionality that NAV can offer, and you can maybe then implement this as well. Now, first of all, we can create multiple budgets for identical time periods. So what we do is that we prepare our budget, and we don't have to only work with one. We don't necessarily have to prepare the budget for the entire chart of accounts. So we can prepare many for different purposes, for different operations, and from different perspectives, even if they are overlapping on the same time periods. That's the beauty of NAV. Now, second, create simple or complex budgets by selecting a combination of EL accounts, periods, what we call dimensions, which are additional information to your financial transactions, and 4 budget dimensions. What does this mean? Well, a dimension could be extra information. For instance, when you have a sales transaction, very regular, or an expense transactions, very regular transactions that we have, then it means that then we could have information from who's selling, in which area you're selling, or your expenses could be for specific departments, so you can clarify where is expenditures for your budgets. Then we also have a copy budget tools from previous periods and check actual figures or budget figures by using an adjustment factor. What does this mean? Well, we have a tool to copy budgets, because preparing budgets, as you know already, I don't have to mention it, is very time consuming. So we can do it in NAV, and we work together, last but not least, with Excel. So what is the beauty of working within NAV environments or Business Central environments is because you can work as well seamlessly with the Excel tools and Office as well. But in this case, because we are working with calculations, Excel is a tool to work with when we talk about budgets. So when we work with budgets, we need to define some basic concepts that we have within our system and within our tool. It's very, very, very important to start learning how do we call our features, right? So when we go to the software, we're gonna be demoing how to prepare a budget today, and then of course, then we're gonna be learning by speaking the same language as well. So a budget name. A budget name is just specifically the budget name that we're going to be allocating for your document. So if you want to start, we need to create a budget name. This is the first step. And then you will be adding your global dimensions or available on all budgets. But you can specify for additional budget dimensions on each budget. What does this mean? Okay, we're going to have a list of different budgets. So give me the specific name for every budget that we have. And as well, just declare to the software what will be functional, which dimension which will be functional. It could be the area. So I will be preparing budgets, not only, of course, with the financial information that we're going to have, but with areas, with the sales people, purchase people, I don't know, right? So those are the dimensions that we're going to be needing. Just declare what you need, and we're going to be showing that. This is the budget name, okay? This is NAV screenshot, and NAV screenshots where we are going to be presenting the GL budget functionality. Everything is in the financial management module. So we are talking, once again, we are talking about budgets on the financial side. Just to mention, we have some other budgets for other type of operations like purchase and sales. But at this moment, we will be using the financial side. Now, once we have understood what is the name, the budget name are these. We have 4 lines in this case. It says budget for 2015, 17, and 18, as you can see here, and the last one, region 15. All of these are 4 different budgets that I have. Let's take a look at the first one. We work with the 2015 sales budget. We have been working with it since 4 years ago. We could use any of these to copy and start working in 2019. So these are already prepared. And in this first one, we have the budget dimension 1 code, which is business group, and budget dimension 2 code, which is the customer group. So we are going to be checking the customers and the business group or business type for this budget. Then budget pages is a second concept. This is where we actually are going to be preparing our budget. We're going to show it. So we're just for you to remember the name, the budget pages. You use the GL budget page to set up budgets with the general fast tab and filters. So you can specify the budget periods. Maybe you want to prepare for January, for February, and so on. Filter GL accounts and dimensions. So you want to prepare some budgets for specific periods, maybe on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. We can do any type of a filtering for that matter within NAV and the specific GL accounts. Like I said, we have different budgets for different purposes, and of course, GL accounts that we're going to be using for specific time periods, for specific purposes. If it's going to be for sales, well, let's take a look at the areas. Geographical areas. Let's take a look at who's going to be selling. Let's take a look at the specific just sales GL accounts, all right? And we're going to be preparing a budget matrix. A budget matrix page displays budgeted amounts in various views. This includes the following: GL accounts in different time periods, dimensions in different time periods, dimensions and GL accounts, and dimensions and dimensions. Let's take a look at this. This is a budget. Of course, this is not specifically the idea of this presentation. We're going to be actually preparing it, right? So you need to remember what is this window, what are these tools just for you to make the learning easily. So we have the budget pages. The budget page, select the name of the budget in which you want to work. If we take a look at the right window, we have an NAV screenshot. In the top, we have a series of different commands and buttons, as you can see, like a preview set. We have previous column and next column. These are the first buttons, and view, of course, in the top part. So we're going to see what are these buttons for. Second, we have the 2015 sales with the specific information that we have, okay? The budget name is, well, 2015 sales. Then we have a second field that is show us lines, a section. And within this, with this part, the show us line GL account, is because I will be presenting my lines here. I have some, in this case, sales accounts that I will be presenting. And show us columns, I want my customers. I have the customer groups. So in my columns, I have here intercompany customers and large business as an example. Once I have just make a matrix like this, well, this is for sales operations. So for my different sales accounts that I have for retail, in this example, domestic, export, and European Union, well, I have different accounts for different operations, different type of sales that I have, different channels, different regions, right? But as well, I have different type of business, large business and intercompany customers. So why don't we just then prepare a specific budget for that? You can do so for your own type of customers and for your own type of approach for your budgets. And then coming back to our presentation of this screen that we're going to be using, we have the view by field, and this is very important because how do you want to prepare your budgets? In this example, we're going to be using month, and that's all right? But you can now understand the by logic that we could prepare for, well, a very detailed budget could be on a daily basis even. So, and that happens specifically, for instance, maybe in retail expenses. So you can see and monitor your expenses every day. So this is it. This is the window where we're going to be preparing. I'm just showing you an easy budget, a previous budget that I have just seen in the system, and I used to kind of screenshot for you to explain this window. Now let's take a look a little bit at the options that we're going to be using within our budget window, right? First of all, well, we have some toggling tools for coming back and to go forward with previous set, previous column, next column. So this is like internet tools where you're gonna be able to navigate within your windows, because normally when we prepare a budget, we need to navigate, for instance, from January to December to prepare the complete budget. So that's why we use these toggling tools. And then we have some specific functions that we will be using. For instance, the first one is here, copy budget. The copy budget, of course, we can copy an existing budget previously and add some different options when we are copying. Remember, it's a very time-consuming. Imagine preparing a document from January to December for just sales operations only for the area, but then later you would need to do the same, but maybe for your sales people, right? So we would like to, of course, being able to copy the budgets and then just making some tweaks to the same information, but with different approaches maybe. So we have the function. Then we, of course, deleting budget is here, and reverse lines and columns, we're gonna see it, but this is more or less like an Excel idea where you can prepare just a matrix and suddenly you can just change the order and your lines will be your columns, and your columns will be your lines. Then, to finalize this, we have the Excel two options that we have here for export and import. Export and import tools, this is very powerful because it happens to be that when we work within Excel, budgeting is somehow a tool that where we plan, and it's very fast to do within Excel. Actually, one of the main purposes of creating Excel is to have calculations, to being able to prepare many worksheets with different matrix of information, tables, somebody could say. So that's why this was designed to be using that functionality, formulations that we have in Excel, and we can actually just export, prepare our budgets, edit them, and then coming back, import the same document, and we are going to be able to see everything within NAV. Why? Why? Because it's easier, it's faster, and it's very powerful. Then, what do we do with a budget? Not to mention the real purpose of all of that we are going to see today, because we are going to be able to measure our performance against that same budget that we will be preparing. So let's go directly to the creation and demo the tool. What do we do? We're going to be creating, you can create a budget in many ways. This includes the following. We have 3 ways of creating. We're going to do the most important one manually, all right? We're going to be creating our first budget. Then we're going to copy the budget, copy from an existing budget, or you just, when you are quite advanced, you can just work within Excel and then come and import it, right? So let's gonna do the 3 of the options. So this lesson includes a demonstration that shows how to create a budget manually and also provides additional budget setup information such as the following: changing or adding dimensions, budgeting within begin totals and end totals, and deleting budget entries. Just to make some, I want to acknowledge that I, of course, will be doing some mistakes, so how do I correct all this? So let's go directly into the example. I have a scenario where Mrs. Sarah, a CFO at a company that is called Kronos International, the demo company, must set up a sales budget for January 2019 because she analyzes actual sales by business group and customers, and she wants to create the sales budget in the same manner. So what do we have here? If we analyze this, very easy. We have on the line section, if you can see on the right, my accounts number 6 for sales operations in this chart of accounts. Okay, so we can use them, or you can use your own sales accounts. And in the columns, I have the different type of customers that I classified, right? So you also, I'm pretty sure you also have your different type of customers. At least it's a good way of preparing budgets. This is the most regular actually, but could be even a different by area, or I don't know, just sales budgets could be prepared by salespeople. So you can just add them as well, it's not a problem. This is just an example, so let's take a look at it. Whenever I just want to start working with an NAV, let me just go now to the tool and review. In this case, this is the NAV section, and I'm the sales order processor. I see January, I see different June, July, August, September, all the different months that I have here, and I can see my operations. The sales orders that I have, the amount are 35. The number of sales orders that I have, and I have been just taking a look at it, and I see that I'm increasing the sales operations here from at least June to October. All right, so you will be analyzing your own data in your company, and in this case, that's why I need to then review that maybe from the last year now to this year, trying to take a look at what I will be doing. So for my budgets, then just to give an example of what we are doing here, right, for my operations. So I have the section, and I need to open now for the first time my budgets, and I have a section that is called GL budgets. All right, this is on the financial management general ledger section. So we have, by the way, for those of you that are seeing Business Central maybe for the first time, all the modules that I have, right, in the financial management section, I have the general ledger, in the general ledger, I have the GL budgets and the chart of accounts. So these are more or less the same, the entries that I have in the chart of accounts. This is a section where I'm going to be grouping my real transactions, financial transactions. That's why the chart of accounts is helping me here in this case. And then, well, just by showing you the regular chart of accounts that I have, right, I would be then checking these balances, right, on this net change and total balance that I have period by period. And then I have another type of entries, which are the GL budgets in this case. So there are actually, and they should be quite similar. I will be looking at the specific way of how I actually post my real financial information to more or less prepare my budgets with the same criteria. So I will be, for instance, having some accounts for specific operations for sales. How often do I actually would like to prepare my sales? Well, more or less at least on a weekly basis, all right? So I need to understand that how do I operate specifically on different GL accounts? How do I make my transactions? So I can just more or less think of how I could be doing my specific budget. In other words, what type of transactions do I have? For sales operations, I will be recording who sold within my company, the salespeople, the area, the country, the county maybe, the state as well. Or maybe I have different business groups in my company. I have the retail or the wholesale. And so why do you how do you actually post your transactions? Somehow will be the same criteria for your budgeting procedures, right? So let's take a look. I was having an example, and I'm going to create immediately my new budget. In this case, my for my demo, I have a 2018 license, so I can just work within that year. But this could be any year, it's not a problem at this point, that part, right? So just this is just an example. So I was thinking about the sales budget for this year, and at this point, well, let's prepare the example 2018 sales budget. So this is the budget name that I was talking about. And then this person who was preparing this knows the dimensions that we have within this company. We have the business group, and very important, we are going to be working with the customers that I have for my sales. All right. So this is how I just prepare the first budgets. You can use even more dimensions, right? So maybe you want to control. You want to create projects or sales campaigns for Halloween, for Christmas. So as you can see, well, you could create like a general year budget, but as well for specific type of operations such as sales campaigns. You can actually just include those salespersons as well if you want it. Okay. So once you declare what you want in your budget, then we're going to go to the matrix and we're going to see this specific information just to prepare. Remember, we need to use this criteria or logic. Now, it's very easy actually. These are just quite large explanations that I'm using for the first time, but actually budgeting is an easy operation. It's more about the detail, about the history of your sales operation that you need to actually analyze, because within NAV everything is super easy. Now, when I prepare this, this is the matrix and that I'm seeing for the first time, the budget window where I'll be preparing everything. Now, you can see your lines. You can see, in this case, I was working with my sales accounts. But you can prepare, I don't know, maybe you want to prepare by department, why not? Or by business unit, business group, a different type of views that you can see for you use for your lines. In this case, just the GL accounts. I will be preparing everything for my GL accounts. I want to see the performance based on my GL accounts. And in the columns, I want to make a cross-reference to the customers. So I know that every time I make a transaction, I will be using I have classified my regular customers into different types, high institution, intercompany customers, large businesses, and so on. So this is just a regular matrix that we can prepare for you, using your own dimensions. And then view by, where you can use any periodicity, day, week, month, quarter, year, account period even, right? So month would be for me the easiest one just to explain for this session. Now you can use rounding factors, so you can use only integers or thousands, or in this case, well, we have all this amount of decimals to use that we can just check. It depends on how your actually real transactions are. Okay, so if we are talking about a real big numbers that you are actually presenting with your chart of accounts, I strongly recommend to use rounding factors so you can avoid that this big amount of decimals that we don't desire just to have them sometimes. So we are just this is like a planning tool more or less. We don't use decimals. We are working on a monthly basis, so you can imagine that you will be having big figures in these examples, right? Now, well, let's start budgeting. So when do you want to budget? I have a date filter that would be, in this case, I have make a filter for January. This is very, very important because remember, we should be very specific, and you can be as specific as you need when it comes to working with this type of filters. So I'm just working within January in this example, and then with some specific just GL accounts. But as well, let's say that we want to work with more. Okay, in this example, I have also, look at this, I have some other project filters by brand in this example, in this demo. So why not to make one for Mercedes or Toyota or Volkswagen Transporter, right? Now, in this case, this will be just my first example. I don't want to go with too many complexity. Just like that, okay, for my sales operation by company. Okay, according to the example that I presented in this session, I'm just going to be trying to fill my budget for the first time. I am having, in this example, my intercompany customers, if you have them, okay, group your customers as the ones that you use for operating internally. You might think that, well, these are not actually regular operations, because actually these type of sales transactions would be balancing to zero when it comes to balancing. But well, when I check my sales operations, I would need to at least verify the amounts, right, that I have intercompany separated from the regular businesses. Regular customers. So let me just continue. Look how I'm just inserting for the first time manually, just directly into this matrix. It's quite time consuming, but it's the way I would insert directly the information field by field, customer by customer, account by account. So I'm inserting for the large business, I'm checking the history for the large businesses, and look, for the account for exporting for the large businesses, I know that, for instance, in my regular operation, I would know that I have very, very, very large exporting operations, right? So specifically for large business, look, in comparison to other type of operations, is quite big, right? So let's go to the medium customers, and I will be then just posting different amounts that I know that I will be having by knowing my own operations. I will be then just trying to planify this specific information, and then I will be analyzing it and compare the reality and the variance. That's why I would be using any type of budgeting criteria, right? So once I have this is I have just finished. So if I want to take a look at the detail, let's try to understand what I have done here, okay? The matrix is quite easy to understand. I have my GL accounts and I will be monitoring the performance directly in my GL accounts by type of customer. But it is very important to understand that this is only for January. So if you want, I would need to type the next period, a function, next period and previous period. So you can see that now I'm here in February, and then I will be then having, this is now blank again, so I need to prepare my information now for February as well. So that's the way I will be working. So the whole idea of doing this is that I would need normally to prepare at least 1 year a budget, okay? Yearly budget is very important because it will be the basis for my planification on a regular basis. Then, if you are capable of doing this, you can then prepare, why not just some seasonal budgets? Why not, right? And so on. So I would then just verify a history of my specific operations. Of course, it's variable. It's not advisable to, of course, try to planify on a linear with a linear criteria. That would be meaning nothing. Normally, because my sales operations, of course, at least vary on at least on a seasonal criteria. So at least try to check that history and come then and prepare this. So this is not just to clarify a forecasting tool. I need to verify that first, and then I will come within NAV to start working within my specific budgets like I'm doing at this point, right? So that's all. I have just planified 2 months. I'm gonna come back and show my tools. This is January, and you can see the budgeted amounts that I have here: 186,000, 171, and 110 for my exporting operations. Account 6130. This is for January. Then let's check now February, the next period tool that I have here in the top, and then I have different totals. So this means that I have different amounts for different periods according to the history that I present. All right, but well, this is not the most detailed budget. You can continue to add more detail if you want. Why not to maybe have it with business group? So if you have these dimensions, we can prepare the budgets for home operations, industrial operations, office operations, different type of business that within this demo we have. So you can do exactly the same. It's not a problem for us. Just by the use of what we call the dimensions, we can do all of this without issues. Now, now that we have this, okay, we can change or add dimensions to the budget entries. You see how I just created a simple matrix, and then you can continue to add maybe, once we have this, why don't we just add some salespeople in our dimensions? And unlike GL entries, where you just cannot change what already has been posted. Remember, you cannot change once you post something. You cannot change. You would need to maybe make a reclassification journal in their real GL entries. But the GL budget entries can be changed anytime. After budget entries are created, you can change existing dimensions as well and add dimensions not included previously in the GL budget page. So we're in the same matrix where we were working for. To use all of our dimensions, if you want it, you can enter any dimension to your budget entries with amounts for each budget, row, and column, right? So it's like a free tool. Why? Because you were going to be using for your comparisons, okay? So the idea of having this is not that you should only just create very detailed information, but try to have the same criteria as your real GL entries, all right? So now, once I have this budget, I need to take a look at something, okay? I'm coming back to my matrix. I'm gonna check for January, okay? let's take a look at this. I have January, and I will take a look. I have different customers. For January, I have made all my intercompany large business and medium business, private small business. I have for January, excuse me, all these amounts that I have. And by looking at the total, 186, I will say, okay, I'm having some issues here because this is not exactly maybe the specific amount that I will be looking for my total, and would be quite, I will be having issues, all right? This is not exactly what I will be, this is not even real maybe, all right? Let's take a look at the totals for January, for my budget. And if you think that something's wrong here, you can come and just edit the list and change it directly with a different view. Just in this case, for the account 6110, the entries for different customers. And you can edit the amounts, or why not just delete any line like this. So go ahead and delete the budget entry minus 5,000. Remember, negative because it's a sales operation. This still has the specific accounting criteria, right? So I can correct and edit any entry that I have. Remember, this is free. This is not like the real GL entry. So this is free. You can just change, edit the amounts. You can see that this is in blue, and maybe why not just to change instead of minus 1,000, minus 2,000 maybe. For these small sales operations that I will be having. And you can see the filters here. For my budget in January, for the account 6110, for my small type of customers, I will be planning minus 2,000, or, well, $2,000 in the operations, for the operations for that period. So once you have this, you can delete and edit any entry, and you can just click on the budgeted total amount. So make your entries on a monthly basis or for every customer, and you can still click on the budget total amount to see what it has done this specific figure for this specific line. So once you access to the GL budget entries, this is the window once again. The entries that you have for that account. You can then just delete and click yes if you want to delete any entry. It's not, then you can just come up and continue to edit this part. So before coming to the second, once I have this very basic budget, the whole idea is that I will be needing to check some other tools. Hey, I have already created my budget. What else do you have here? Okay, before going to more complex operations, okay, you can copy any budget that you have already created. Entering budgets manually can be very time consuming, like we said. To avoid manually entering a new budget, you can use the copy budget functions to copy from your existing GL budget. So just to verify how does this actually work, I will be presenting the GL budgets that I have, and I would need to go and review the specific budget. Here it is, and here, once I have done this, okay, I would like to have a different approach to the same idea of, okay, let's take a look at the GL accounts and the customers and blah, blah, blah. Let's copy then the budget so I can then use the same information, but I will be doing some other tweaks then later. So the budget, once I am using the copy budget function, this pop-up window will appear. And what do you want to copy? Okay, this is very important. When I use this function, I could be actually using the GL entry real information. So, okay, this is the criteria that I will be using. But at this point, I want to bring to my budget the real transactions, the real information that I have maybe in my history, in my last year, just to bring in bring it to my budget, to the real information, and I don't have to then come up with many pages to analyze, and later it's very time consuming. So within this design, you can use the real information that you have within your accounts, bringing to your budget, and then why not just once you know the real information period by period, just edit it here. Maybe normally we would have a goal in the sales real world. Okay, bring your last year history using this function. For this matrix, use the real GL entry information instead of the GL budget entry. So that's why I'm presenting this. And then you will be having, I don't know, a factor to multiply 10% larger only for this year, at least, you know. So on a monthly basis, we will be having the real history, but multiply it by 10% more, and voila, you have a very basic budget entry. But you can use the real information or just the GL budget entry that we are just doing now. So let's just copy. I'm just copy a budget, nothing specific at this point, because the idea is that you can actually just bring some information to the new budget that we are creating. You decide what you want. We have different criteria. If you want to copy some specific GL accounts, some specific period, maybe you just want to bring January or the entire year, I don't know, it depends. You want to bring your closing entries, so the entries that you have already closed, this is important, and what type of dimensions you want to use. Well, as well, just for copying, just going to use what I used in the first one, the business group and the customer group as well. But you have more here, you can use them. Well, just basically, this is it. I'm just showing the copy function. And well, where do you want to copy? You want to create a new one? Yeah, why not? I would like to create sales test. And this is the sales budget for 2019, something like that. All right, nothing else at this point. So that's all. As you can see, do you want an adjustment factor? Yeah, well, last year I used already this budget, but for the next year or 2020, okay, now because we are in 2019 already, let's use the factor 1.1. Any rounding method if you once again use very large amounts, and the exchange formulations if you want them. Okay, the date compression, okay, this is month, just a very basic like I've just done, and I'm just going to click OK. So with this, the function is telling me, do you want to copy the actual budget? And I'm just going to click on OK, and the budget has been successfully copied. Once I have this, then I'm going to click on OK, and then I'm going to refresh, and I have just created by using the copy function the sales budget for 2019. So here is, I have used a factor. The amounts are not the same. I have just increased by 10%. The amounts that I have budgeted on the last year, 2018, but for this sales test, I have increased by 10% my specific amounts. All right. So let me just make a configuration to present the budget. I need to as well add the business group and the customer group here. And that's all. Once I have that, I will be able to show my budget with the customers. Okay, so that's the whole idea, the basic idea of preparing it. You can copy your real history, bring it, and NAB is going to make the calculations for you, even if you want to, okay, I want to use my real history plus 10, 15%, and NAB is going to just directly do it for you. Or maybe you have an analysis tool or a forecasting tool, and then we will be using another criteria. The last function, just to show you and give you the approach of how do we use this. Maybe you have a third-party software, you don't want to use these factors, or maybe trying to bring the real history or the previous budgets that you use and bring into your new budgets, but you maybe have another software or another criteria, or you want to use your personal experience even, and well, why don't we use the following? Once I have this prepared, I would like to maybe prepare maybe in Excel. That would be better for me because I have some other criteria and I would like to edit directly on Excel my information. So I want to do it now. Whenever I export anything to Excel, this is done seamlessly. Please tell to NAB which is the specific periodicity that you want to see in your Excel. So in this case, will be exactly the same that I have on this budget for January 2018. The number of periods is 1. I just want January at this point, but you could use 12 for the entire year. And what is the period length that you use in this document that you want to see within Excel would be 1 month. Easy as that. I don't need anything else. So at this point, the whole idea is that I know that I have maybe more complex criteria to prepare my budgets, and that's normal. Why? Because I would maybe have a regular, you know, a meeting with my salespeople, with my sales group, telling me what will be the differences from the last year to this year to prepare something, and they will be helping you maybe, or you will be having a forecasting tool. Why not? Anything. So let's just come with the Excel preparation instead of working here. So I'm gonna just export it. And in this case, I have just prepared, well, this is the Excel file that I will be receiving. As you can see, it's very, very short because this is only for 1 month and only for 3 accounts. But normally, we will be having more columns on this side. Why? Because this is a column for January, right? But I would expect to see for February, for March, and so on, okay? So I have also this criteria. My account 6110, my account 6120 for sales operations, retail for European Union, and 6130 for sales retail export, right? So once I have this, then the whole idea is that I will be also having my different customers. So for the same account, I have different customers, and this will be the total for the sales operations that I'm planifying. So it's 205,000 for the account 6110 for January for all my customers. And how is this integrated? Here you have it in Excel. Well, once I have this very basic tool, but it's very useful, I would need to just maybe come and edit my own information just within the specific Excel fields that I have. So I'm preparing my different amounts. I will be just changing them because I will be using I will be presenting this file with making my meeting and having the specific modifications. So maybe I have just specific for, I will be talking for specific domestic sales operations. Okay, let's have a meeting. I will be modifying the specific amounts that I have, because previously I just added 10% as a factor, but now reviewing this, I would like to make some tweaks, and that's all. Okay, now I want to see those figures actually in NAB, and then I just save my file into my desktop, actually, and well, in my computer, I actually just saving this file, and then I'm gonna come back into my actual a budgeting a window. And here, I would like to import now the same file. I have this import from Excel option or import from Excel tool. In this button, by using it, I will be clicking on OK. And once I have it, NAB is going to ask me, where is your file that you want to import? This is the same file that I just modified before, and now I will be importing it. Now, this is asking me, do you want to replace the entries for the budget? And you can just click on OK. And your figures then will be just changing, all right? So this is according to the Excel that I just modified before, and this is how actually I will be changing it. So this is how you copy the budgets. Remember, this is not only copying, but you can bring your real history, or you can bring to your new budgets, previous budgets that you prepare, and then you can copy them, include any type of dimensions. Here I have this material that I'm going to be sharing with you, and then you can export and import your budgets from Excel. Well, export to Excel and import from Excel, as I have just done right now. So this is a very powerful tool. You have the idea, the idea of using your GL accounts, your dimensions, any period actually you will be doing normally for the year, but as well you could use this for any specific period or criteria, like a campaign or something like that. You can export, you can import your budgets, you can use Excel, and you can work with it. So we have just demoed that specific option. And thank you very much. This is all for today. Hopefully everything is super clear for you and easy to understand without any complications. As you can see, all the specific budgeting is very, very easy to understand. It's very easy to check how do we work within the financial budgets. We can prepare it for you. We can give you, if you have any idea of any budget that you have, because this is just a very simple and basic demo just to show the options. But the details come when you actually are creating your real budget. Please call us for the first time so we can help you with the budgeting tool, because now that you have budgeted, you want to actually compare it with the actual reports that you have within NAB for your income statement maybe, or your sales operation, and you want to analyze the variance. You want to prepare for their reports other than just budgeting. You can maybe prepare a budget with a specific within NAB just to analyze variance, like I said, or why not? We have third-party reporting tools, so you can use them, so we can prepare charts for you and so on. So this is very helpful. This is how you prepare your benchmarks within NAB for your operations. And well, this is very easy. I try to make a very easy budget, but to be able to present the actual functions in the software. So if you have any other doubt, please let me know. Let me know any queries that you would like to later review. In Optimus, we are happy to help you whenever you have this type of operations. Like I said, budget seems and it's very easy to understand, but when we actually work within the actual preparation of the budgets, you would like to check maybe some other a specific criteria, and we will be happy to help you with this. I have one question here. Let me see. Shadeen Brown, you can talk now. Let me see. Yes. Can you tell me your question, or you can use your chat as well?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, you're hearing me?
Yes. Hello.
Okay. All right. Our sales budget is a little bit more complex in that we have different parameters. So, for example,
of course, yes.
our units would have been probably overflights, number of flights.
Oh, understood.
Right, and the cost would have been the cost per flight, but the costs also vary based on the units in terms of how large a carrier the airplane is. So the costs vary, and so what we use is like a trend in order to determine what our units will be in each month in terms of number of overflights. Can this be incorporated into the sales budget?
Oh yes, of course. Let me show you an overview of another example. Here we have the same idea of the budget, but by item in this example. The whole idea is because you have different products like user or services. And
Right.
here, this is just the same criteria that you would be using. First, for example, I just use GL accounts, which would be more or less related to amounts and performance to GL. But of course, yes, and would be very, very important to use items as well for sales operations. And we have that specific criteria, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Eileen. Anyone else want to share something?
Hello? You're hearing me still?
Yes, I hear you.
Right, so you actually expounded on sales, but what about the other expenses, like on the expense side? Will there be a webinar for that, or you're expecting that this will apply to the expenses?
Oh, no, it would be a different criteria, of course. Why not by your different departments in your company and only using expenses, expense accounts? We can prepare the budget for sales, expenses, purchases would be another one. Very, very, very important. And well, actually for your entire chart of accounts, for your items, sales operations, and purchase operations, basically.
Oh, okay.
So these are just basic examples that if you want, we can review your criteria so we can prepare budgets. But normally we don't have issues when it comes to budgeting any type of so far we are covering within NAB different criteria. It's budgeting related to somehow if you are moving money, cash flow, we can budget it. Basically. So if you have an operation for expenses, as well, maybe income, operations for items, even for manufacturing, which will be very, very complex with different costs. You planify your costs and so on. Well, that's budgeting as well. That will be the more complex one.
Right. And by extension, you know that when we are completed populating like our income and expenses, you would generate your income statement and balance sheet, your financial statements.
Right.
This has the tool for that, and can we modify the document to meet our, it's not dimensions, or
yes, we normally, let me show you one income statement, a report, very basic. So here I'm showing you that we have a very basic report for income services, product sales, different income. This is a very basic income report that includes basically my income, my cost, and my expenses. Basically, this will be summarizing your idea. And here you can add, if you want to analyze with any of the, we have one field that is called GL budget, cost budget. We have this idea of compare my actual reports with my specific budgets that I have prepared. The only thing is that we would need to have more or less the same criteria because a budget at the end is more or less the same as your normal report, where you can actually just planify for the future. So we would need to prepare your reports and your budgets, and you then are going to be able to compare them normally for P&L and your balance sheet without issues, or other more complex analysis that you might have.
Okay, then thank you.
Yes, no problem. Just continuing with that, sometimes we prepare the cash flow analysis, income and expenses analysis. So I have my current periods, -1 and -2. This is another example where we can just use budgeting. And the idea, well, is just exactly that. Prepare your reports however you want them. Financially, we are just analyzing your same reports, but with budgeting will be used with the same criteria, but for the future, and to automate the calculations so you don't have to use Excel or manually anymore. So within the ERP, you do everything. So just giving you some other ideas. So, well, revenues will be another one. Very useful. Well, you can just analyze your net change. Let me see in this demo which period is actually working. For month, okay. And the budget, let me try to 2019. Okay, I have some. Let's see, previous. Maybe another budget would be more helpful. Okay, I don't know if that budget has information, but okay. I have a revenue analysis here as another example, and I would have different budgets that I would be preparing with the same criteria to analyze my revenue as well. And then I will be analyzing to check the variance for the different periods as an example, right? If somebody else has another comments or any other doubt, please tell me. Just giving you some other ideas. A complex one, let me see. Cash flow analysis. Well, let's see if we have this information. It's not filled. Okay, we could go as the most complex type of analysis would be your cash flow. But it can be automated to review your income analysis with your AR minus your AP and your petty cash and so on. So we could, I don't know, prepare a report with these ratios and so on and budget and make a budget with that complexity. This will be really helpful. Let me show you other type of budgets just to finalize this meeting. Please, if anybody else has doubts, please let me know. Just to finalize, okay, we also have purchase budgets. We can control your expenses by having this criteria. We have by item. You can prepare by a location. This is very good, or even by vendor. Why not? Just to give you some other ideas. I have a list of vendors in every, in my company, I have a list of vendors when I could just, for different vendors, forecast my, budget and actually the quantities that I will be having. Why not to show quantity or cost amounts? You decide what you want here. Of course, normally by month or week. And well, just by showing another example of budgets, I'm having here by different vendors, calculating the or budgeting the regular amounts that I will be using here for the different periods. Or if you don't like it, well, the regular as well will be by item. I have, well, in this demo, different bicycles and the specific spare parts for that item, and I would like to budget the amounts that I actually dedicate for my purchase for different periods. And well, something very important just to finalize, when I prepare a budget for purchase, sales, or any financial analysis, these budgets are not a restriction for your actual operations or transactions. What does it mean? That if you're above any budget planification and you are thinking, okay, but I'm not allowed to go over my budget, well, you would need to check what is going on, because this is just for analysis purposes, and this won't restrict, for this example, any type of purchase. But the same goes for any type of budget. It's just for analysis purposes, and this is how it was designed. If you want to actually just restrict, then some, or in this case, a type of processes, transactions, purchases, well, we can help you with that. We have even approval workflows by amount, where somebody else could be checking this information, and we could set up some other functionality for you, so you can restrict some other purchases, in this case, specifically for purchase, where you can actually just restrict, or somebody that could supervise for you. But with the help of budgets, this person approving will be analyzing what are your planification for the year, and then analyze if something can be then posted as an expense or a purchase. It doesn't matter. But the whole idea is that you can use this information for that matter. So I don't see at this point any other questions or comments. Okay, so once again, my name is Manuel. I'm happy to, we have this series of webinars for you. The next topic will be costing in NAB, advanced costing, how to handle them by department. We have cost centers that we can prepare, where you can actually analyze how to cost your company with the help of a Business Central NAB. This is a very helpful feature for those accountants who would like to analyze the cost for the real costs for the company, with the help of a subledger, not only your chart of accounts, where you can prepare your cost centers, such as departments, like group members, or technology expenses, with I don't know, with different features that we have that could be helpful. So for now, this is it. This is the budgeting webinar. Thank you very much, and I'm going to share with all of the present, all of the people here, my material, the presentation that I use, and if you want later this video, we are going to be uploading into our knowledge base. Please ask us to have access to our knowledge base, where you can actually just see these webinars and this series of presentations and videos that we have. So thank you very much. Have a nice day, and I hope this presentation was useful for all of you. So have a nice day, and see you next time.